Class, Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
It's all yours, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraid Nashtraprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Text number 27. Gatayo matayaschaiva prayaschitam samarpanam purushavayavairite sambharaha samvrita maya. Gatayaha, progress to the ultimate goal or Vishnu. Matayaha, worshipping the demigods. Cha, as also. Eva, certainly. Prayaschitam, compensation. Samarpanam, ultimate offering. Purusha, the personality of Godhead. Avayavaha, from the parts of the body of the personality of Godhead. Ete, these. Sambharaha, the ingredients. Sambrataha, were arranged. Maya, by me. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, I had to arrange all these necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from the personal bodily parts of the personality of Godhead. By invocation of the demigods' names, the ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and thus compensation and ultimate offering were complete. Purport. In this verse, special stress is given to the person of the Supreme Lord and not to his impersonal Brahmajyoti as being the source of all supplies. Narayana, the Supreme Lord, is the goal of sacrificial results, and therefore the Vedic hymns are ultimately meant for attaining this goal. Human life is thus made successful by pleasing Narayana and getting entrance into the direct association of Narayana in the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha. Om Agyana Thimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. Thus, I had to arrange all these necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from the personal bodily parts of the personality of Godhead. By invocation of the demigods' names, the ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and thus compensation and ultimate offering were complete. What I was able to see from this verse, as well as the purport of Srila Prabhupada, it's very, very clear that the most important part is ultimate goal. Most people in this material world either do not have a goal, or even if they do, it's mostly a material goal. But from here, we can understand from the Srimad Bhagavatam that the ultimate goal is Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 9, Krishna tells Arjuna, Yagnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tad artham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. He's giving us the goal. He's giving us the purpose of performing sacrifice. He says, work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. He doesn't say, you may perform if you feel like you perform. No. He uses that very strong word, has. That means whatever we do needs to be as a sacrifice for pleasing Lord Vishnu. Otherwise, work causes bondage. No one likes to be bound up. Everyone wants to be free. So if we want to avoid bondage, if we want liberation, then all that we do has to be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. And Srila Prabhupada also talks about this in the purport. He says Vishnu or Narayana is the Supreme Lord and he is the goal of all sacrifices. You see, yagna, sacrifice is called yagna, and another name of Lord Vishnu is yagna. He is to be satisfied. Now, just as, the doctor prescribes different medications for different diseases, similarly, the Supreme Lord has given us different sacrifices for different yugas, different ages. Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu. In Satya Yuga, the sacrifice is meditation for thousands of years. Tretayam yajatau makay. In Treta Yuga, it is a fire sacrifice. Dwapar Yuga, it is elaborate worship in the temples. Kalautad Hari Kirtana. In Kali Yuga, the same benefit can be received or achieved just by chanting the holy names of the Lord. In fact, Krishna, when he came down more than 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us the prescription that in Kali Yuga, Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam. Only way is to chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Why such a simple process in Kali Yuga? Because people in Kali Yuga are short-lived, quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky. This is what Bhagavatam says. So we don't have either the time or the energy or the enthusiasm, to do meditation or fire sacrifice, etc. But this is a simple process. And the scriptures tell us that this Mahamantra has the potency of all the Vedic mantras, all of them. And today's verse is teaching us that human life can become successful by pleasing Narayana. And that will lead us to enter into Vaikuntha. So many times we've heard Kuntha means anxiety. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. So if we want to go to a place where there is no anxiety, which is Vaikuntha, then we need to please Lord Vishnu. And that should be the ultimate goal of human life. Srila Prabhupada also mentions, even in the purport, he's talking about the sacrifice. And this process is given by Supreme Lord himself so that we can be successful in this human form of life. He explained it and he even showed as a personal example. When he came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed us how we can reach Vaikuntha. And the easiest method is to please Guru and Krishna. How? That's $1 million question. It's given in the scriptures. The simple way is to follow their instructions. You see, we are very, very fortunate that we are born in Kali Yuga. Imagine if we were born in Satya Yuga, we would have to do meditation for at least 30,000 years, as per the scriptures. Here, if we sit down even for a few minutes for meditation, there's so much disturbance. The mind is disturbing, the senses are disturbing, the situations are disturbing. Everything is a disturbance. So very fortunate we are in Kali Yuga because the easiest process is given to us in this age. No need for fire sacrifice, meditation, nothing. Just chant the holy names and enter into Vaikuntha. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport that human life will become successful just by pleasing the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord has already given us the information, the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam, how to please Him. Just follow His instructions. Now, when we please the Supreme Lord, then He will reveal Himself. We cannot become self-realized just by reading books or hearing some lectures. No. Excuse me. No. We may have knowledge, but that will be only theoretical. To become self-realized, we need the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Now, some people have knowledge, but they do nothing about it. And then that knowledge remains theoretical. There is no self-realization at all. And in the process, what happens, just taking on more knowledge and more knowledge and more knowledge, then they end up speculating about God. Oh, in my opinion, this is Supreme Lord. According to me, this so-and-so is the Supreme Lord. No. If we want to please the Supreme Lord, then we need to follow His instructions. And for that, we need very good sadhana, which means spiritual discipline. Don't we follow this? Aren't we disciplined when, we go to school, college, job, business, whatever it may be? We have to be disciplined. So the same applies for spirituality also. We need to follow spiritual discipline. That is very, very important. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Krishna says, one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. This is so easy for us to do in Kali Yuga. Very quickly we get deviated. Something else attracts us, then spirituality goes down the drain. Something else, okay. So there is this hopping off and on from materialism to spirituality and back and forth and back and forth. Krishna says one should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. So who's the culprit? The mind. Everything happens in the mind, right? All our desires manifest in our mind. And then when those desires become very firm, very strong, they lead to words and then to actions. So Krishna is saying that we need to control our senses by the mind. And the best way to control the mind is mantra meditation, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Even Srila Prabhupada in his books, he's talking about determination and patience. There is great perseverance required. And it's not very easy, so we should not get discouraged. Oh, I've been chanting for so many years and nothing is happening. That's okay. At least we are on the right path. At least we are trying. All we need is full-hearted enthusiasm and determination. And that becomes easy when we have very good devotee association. If you all remember, we've heard that story of the sparrow, the determination of the sparrow. Sparrow had laid the eggs and the ocean had, wiped away the eggs inside. And the sparrow was really upset. And she demanded the ocean to return her eggs. But the ocean would not. See the determination of the sparrow. She said, I am going to dry you up. Imagine a sparrow trying to dry up the ocean. Can anyone do that? It's not possible. But look at her determination. She went and she, with her beak, she would, take a drop of water and go and throw it on the side. Again, go take a drop of water and throw it on the side, trying to dry up the ocean. When Garuda, the king of birds, saw her determination, he came to her help. And he demanded the ocean to return the eggs of the sparrow. Otherwise, he himself is going to dry up the ocean. That scared the ocean a lot because the ocean knows the potency of Garuda, and the eggs were returned. You see the determination? God helps those who help themselves. So if we are not going to help ourselves, how can Krishna come to help us? You see? So when we are performing bhakti yoga, it may appear to be a very difficult job. It is not easy to chant every day. It is not easy to wake up early in the morning. It is not easy to follow the four regulative principles. It's not easy to find time to read books. But if we try to follow this process with great determination, Krishna will surely help. But we need to help ourselves first. You see, the main conclusion of this verse is, in any endeavor, we need great determination. Even the desires that are born in our minds, they are born from determination, right? The desire is born because we want to enjoy. We want to get more materially entangled, and we want to, come back into the cycle of birth and death. That's why we don't control the mind. We let the desires flourish in our minds. You see? And then the mind thinks, maybe if I get this, maybe if I get that, I will be happy. So that determination to enjoy keeps us in this material world. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that if we have unfulfilled desires at the time of death, we will be born again in this material world to fulfill those unfulfilled desires. Isn't that dangerous? And we need to catch our minds. We need to make sure we don't have material desires that, lead to hankering to fulfill them. Because you see, death can come at any moment. And at the time of death, if we have all these unfulfilled desires in our minds, boom, we come back into this material world. Do we want to? Do we want to come back in this material world where there is no permanent happiness, where there is birth, disease, old age, and death, where there are 7 kinds of miseries, where there is anxiety? That decision we have to take. The purpose of human life is not to increase our material desires, but to control those desires. You see, we are human beings, so there will be desires. But then we have got the philosophical intelligence, which the animals do not have, to understand the ultimate goal of human form of life. It is to break the cycle and go to Vaikuntha, where there is no anxiety. Otherwise, the result will be taking thousands of births in this material world. So, as a human being, we should understand the special significance of this form of life. It is meant to conquer all our desires and become pure. Until and unless our mind, our senses, our intelligence, our body, if all these are not purified, we don't become qualified to go to Vaikuntha. Now, since we have this strong intelligence, we can decide, what do we want to do? We want to control and conquer these desires, or remain entangled in this network of desires. That, okay, let whatever comes, let them come. I'll deal with them when they come. Regularly, the mind needs to be disciplined and trained. Srila Prabhupada says the mind is like a child. Don't we have to discipline the child? Otherwise, the child is going to do whatever the child wants to do. No homework, no going to school, only playing, destroying toys, whatever. No. The child needs to be disciplined right from young age and needs to be taught what is right, what is wrong, what's important, what's not important. So, if we really want to break the cycle of birth and death, then we need to stop this repetition of birth and death. It's not that this cycle of birth and death is only in some countries. No, it's everywhere in all the countries. It's not that in some countries people are very happy and in some countries they are not. No, there is suffering in every country, in every city, every town, every village. Everywhere there is Dukhalayam. That's what Krishna tells Arjuna. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. There is misery, and this world is temporary. So why are we trying to build our life here in this material world? It's like a sand castle. The waves will come and they will wipe it away and gone. Then we build another castle, and that's also is wiped away. This is what material life is. It is temporary. So if we want to break this cycle, this material cycle of birth and death, then we need great determination. There needs to be focus on Krishna consciousness, focus on bhakti yoga, focus on conquering the mind, focus on conquering the desires. And if we have great determination to follow this process of bhakti yoga very seriously, then we will be successful. Ye yatha ma prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyam. Krishna says, as one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. So if we really want the Supreme Lord to help us, we need to first help ourselves. Now, for great determination, there needs to be enthusiasm. So how do we get enthusiasm? We get it from someone who has it. So we look for enthusiastic devotees who are very enthusiastic about bhakti yoga. They're very enthusiastic about chanting. We associate with them. Then one day, their enthusiasm will rub off on us. You see, Srila Prabhupada says enthusiasm is a sign of faith, Shraddha. Now, that faith is in the beginning stages, it's very tender. It can be easily twisted or turned or, put an end to it. It's very soft, very tender. It's like, I believe in Krishna, but Hare Krishna? I don't know. But that faith, that little faith that we have, that there is God, there is a Supreme Lord. And according to the scriptures, his name is Krishna. And that faith can be nurtured in association of devotees. Association is very, very important because association can change our hearts. It has changed hearts of so many. When Srila Prabhupada came to the US, what did he do? He just sat under a tree and chanted Hare Krishna. And so many hearts were melted. just by hearing the powerful sound vibrations from a pure devotee of the Lord. It wasn't something very complicated that no one could follow. He did not, sitting under a tree, he did not, whoever gathered to hear him, he did not say, come on, you have to do this and you have to do that and then give up this and give up. No, nothing at all. All he did was chant Hare Krishna. And that sound vibrations from a pure devotee immediately melted the hearts of all those who gathered there in that park listening to him. And gradually, Srila Prabhupada gave us his books, his purports, which are like, you can say, atom bombs. They can destroy ignorance. The ignorance that is there within us since so many lifetimes. What is the ignorance? I am this body. I am never going to die. I'm going to live forever. And this body is meant to eat, sleep, and be merry. This is all ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada, through his books, he has given us the process to reach the ultimate goal of human life. We don't want to do the same thing that the animals do: eat, sleep, mate, and defend. These are the only 4 things they do. We have better intelligence. If we just engage in these 4 activities, eat, sleep, mate, and defend, we are no different than the animals. We've heard this so many times. But have we processed it? See, in life, we hear so many times the same thing over and over again, but do we stop and think about it? What did I hear? Like today's class, we have taken this very important verse about ultimate goal of life, which is Vishnu. Then it behooves us to process this in our minds, talk to other devotees and get their opinion about it. What have they realized? And that is the churning of the heart, where gradually the determination will become more and more firm. You see? This is how we gradually become, or we can say we can fortify our determination. Determination doesn't come just like that, sitting and, cooling off. Or no, I have to make that effort. Follow the Bhagavad Gita, understand Srimad Bhagavatam in association of devotees, and put it into practice. It's not easy, but it's not very difficult either. We just have to make up our mind. What do we want? Do we want the ultimate goal of life, which is Vishnu, and go back to Vaikuntha, achieve him? Or do we are happy here? This material world seems to be like a clubhouse. I'm enjoying. I have everything that I want, and I don't mind coming back. I remember many years ago when I was giving a class on Bhagavad Gita. So I was just after the class asking a question. Everybody was present. What is your goal in life? And you won't believe, one of them said, my goal is to become a bulldog in my next life. That is a state of consciousness. Because he was so attached to bulldogs, he was fascinated by bulldogs, that he wanted to become one. Little did he know, or did he understand, that once we develop that consciousness, that is what our state of consciousness will be at the time of death. And Krishna says, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajat ante kalevaram. Tam tam eveti kanteya saddhatad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of mind we are at the time of death, to that state we will attain, Krishna says, without fail. So if that is his state of consciousness, Krishna is going to say Tathastu. Unfortunately, when the human life is, wasted and one becomes an animal in the next life, then that living entity has to go through the whole evolutionary cycle before that living entity, that spirit soul, can get a human form. Human form is very, very rare. It is not meant for just enjoying the senses. It is meant to control the senses, control the mind, use our philosophical intelligence, and reach the ultimate goal of life. That is the purpose of human form of life, and that is what this verse today is talking about. And Bhagavad Gita clearly gives us the knowledge by which we can follow this process to reach that ultimate goal.